Aaron, what's this symbol for?
What symbol?
I don't know, it says Fettered.
I don't know, that's the one that I really don't understand. Honestly, I think it looks a lot like that one symbol with the one little arc thing that the guy in the jumpsuit saw in that shack.
Really?
I really don't know.
This is the second audio note of Dr. Ann Lennox. The date is January 16, 2012. The time, 5:18 p.m. Last weekend was the first one since the incident that I found Aaron coming home and not heading straight for his room. I've given him his space since I found him in the kitchen, but I've also done my best to help him recover from his experience. He has lost quite a few friends since November, but he seems to be hanging on to a precious few. Nick, Chris, and Vito are their names. He has known each of them since elementary school, so it's no surprise to me that he would maintain this circle of friends. I decided to talk with Aaron about how he'd been recovering when he got home from school. Though he'd say I was confronting him about it, I did my best to coax his feelings out. I did my best to imitate the style of conversation used by Nurse Fleischer when Aaron was in the hospital that night. He seemed to be most open when he talked to him. Looking back, I'd say he's a credit to Aaron's health.
Do you guys remember that old cartoon from McDonald's? Remember how you had Ronald McDonald and you had like the bird thing?
Yeah.
Remember the big purple thing? Remember the grimace?
Basement into some McDonald's somewhere.
What are we doing over here?
Well, this is the forest that you took Nick to, right?
Yeah, it looks familiar.
We stopped where you stopped in that video we saw.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know, maybe we can find something here.
Yeah, let's look around.
Were there like houses or farms here or something?
The night when I dropped Nick here, Aaron, it was very dark, so I tried to see as much as I can with the light I was using, but not much. All I remember is the trail, and that was really it.
Huh.
This is all new.
Does any of this look familiar to you guys?
No, not at all.
Not at all, really.
Alright. Let's keep going then.
Yeah.
Fuck. Whoa.
What's that, Aaron?
I think I see something. It's up there. I found a bag. Maybe. Is this the bag Nick took with him into the woods?
I believe so.
Whoa.
Whoa, what the fuck?
Aaron?
Yeah.
What is that?
Fuck it up.
Oh fuck, right! Take the bag!
Go, Vito, go!
I decided that 2 months after the fact, it was a safe time to ask Aaron about his thoughts pertaining directly to the incident. While I spared the gory details, I did ask him what he remembered from that night. He replied that all he remembered was talking to Nurse Fleischer after waking up in the hospital. I asked if he remembered me being there. He said he didn't, which is what I wanted to hear. I was not there with him that night, because I was in a separate wing, having the wounds Arron caused by throwing his switchblade at me treated. I pried a little bit more, asking Arron if he remembered anything that happened to him before he hurt himself. When I asked this, he visibly went still, as if he retreated into himself. I let him act like this for about 3 minutes before I shook him awake. I asked him again if he remembered anything else from earlier that night. He said that he remembered my husband Ed screaming at him and threatening him with a gun. He remembered holding the switchblade in his hands and being told to bleed himself onto the dirt floor. After hearing this, I allowed him to leave his room. I could see that he was on the verge of vomiting. While I didn't make it explicit that I found his story to be ridiculous, I knew that he was probably remembering some kind of hallucination that he experienced during that night. After all, I found him on our tile kitchen floor, and Ed was at work.
Chris and Vito just went out to get some food, so I may as well do this while they're gone. After we got back here to my house, Chris left the bag near the doorway, and we didn't want to look at it after what happened, so just tried to put it out of our heads. But it's really fucking important that we at least see what's in the bag, so I'm gonna show you guys what I found. There were some clothes in there. It looks like it was in Nick's size, so this is probably Nick's bag, especially since I found his wallet. Like, nearly no money. His ID, his cards, everything is in here. This thing. It smells like spray paint. And like it's been in the woods for a really long time. VHS tape, unmarked, but it looks intact, so we have a, oh, label was torn off. Well, I have a VHS player, so I don't know, maybe I can get Chris and Vito to watch it with me or something. Nick's camera. But I checked it out as soon as I found it. The screen is cracked. Oh, not the screen, the lens. But there's still an SD card in it, so maybe I'll find something. And spindle of CDs. Log 1, 2. I think there are like 10 or 12 of these in here, so I'll check them out later. Fuck.
This is the third audio note of Dr. Ann Lennox. The date is January 17, 2012. The time, 1:45 p.m. My husband Ed had a day off today. so I took the opportunity to talk to him about what Aaron told me yesterday. After describing the memory Aaron shared with me, his first response was shock, then outright laughter. Granted, Ed has been less than sensitive about the effects of Aaron's trauma, but I couldn't help but be offended that the same experience that made Aaron nauseous to share wasn't being taken seriously. At that point, it dawned on me that I never knew where my husband was the night Aaron and I were at the hospital. I asked him this, and he told me that he stayed by Aaron's side the entire night. Just like I thought, Aaron woke up 2 hours after being admitted, his wounds dressed and healing.
Oh, fuck. I just watched the VHS tape. I set up the whole thing in the living room. What the fuck did I just watch? The tape was nothing but this guy. He was stabbing this woman to death, and there was a kid there trying to stop him, and the kid kept on screaming, "Dad, Dad." And I'm pretty sure the guy was stabbing the kid's mom. Holy fuck. The part that fucks me up, though, is that the dad, he sounded exactly like my dad. And that makes no fucking sense. Because I'm an only child, and the last time I checked, my parents are still alive, and my dad isn't insane. I mean, how could I have a fucking brother? Like, I mean, I'm gonna show Chris and Vito this tape, because I have to. They're part of this. Hopefully they don't come to the same conclusion.
But shortly after waking up, as Ed described, Aaron started to talk to the open air beside him, talking vividly about his interests, where he was going to college next year, and generally acting as if nothing happened. I had my suspicions, so I asked him who Aaron thought he was talking to. He said he kept addressing this person as some nurse named Fleischer. After letting him go downstairs to watch TV, I called the hospital and asked for a nurse Fleischer. And just as I thought, Aaron was under the care of a series of nurses that night, none of whom were named Fleischer.
Dude, it looked like a castle, like he was running through a castle.
Yeah, I saw that too. But you know what was interesting was, once he was running out of the castle, I saw a really dark forest he was running into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you mean?
Yeah. Was I the only one who saw a car crash in the background?
I don't know.
At the end of that, though, it kind of looked like he was running toward your house.
Hmm. Oh god.
I think so.
Oh god. Okay.
So, is it still out there, you think?
I don't want to check. Fuck. Okay.
Just to be safe.
Yeah. God. Okay.
We went out.
Upstairs.
Upstairs?
Alright, I guess you guys can stay here with me tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Vito, where do you want to stay?
I'll stay on the other side of the house, man.
Up here?
Yeah.
Okay. Chris, you want to bunk with me?
Yeah, good idea.
Okay, I'll see you guys in the morning.
Alright.
Good night, man.
Good night.
This is the fourth audio log of Dr. Ann Lennox. The date is June 20, 2012. The time, 7 p.m. Yesterday, my son Aaron graduated high school, and I could not be more proud of him. I don't think I remember tearing up so much when I saw him walk across that stage and receive his diploma. He sounded so happy, cheering for Nick and Chris, too. After staggering home from his after-party at noon, Aaron went straight to his room to sleep off his hangover. But before he completely shut me out, Aaron mentioned that his party was at this abandoned building called Fleischer Castle. Although I was even angrier that the party took place inside some ruins where he could get hurt, I remembered that was the name of the nurse Aaron hallucinated when he was at the hospital all those months ago. About an hour ago, I decided to ask Aaron again what he remembered from that night at the hospital. After protesting the conversation, saying that nothing else needs to be said, and telling me to fucking move on, he repeated his story about the nurse talking to him all night. I told Aaron what Ed told me back in January, that there was no one there. Aaron, of course, didn't believe me.
We've got the tape. Where did it go? What the fuck? I bet fucking Chris moved it. Huh? What the fuck? Aaron! Chris, what are you doing down there? It's like 3 in the morning.
Aaron! Open the fucking door! Chris!
I asked him to describe in detail what Nurse Fleischer looked like. He looked at me quizzically and then stared down, trying hard to come up with some details. Then he just started sobbing, clutching me and choking back words, saying, "I don't want to ever see him again. Please don't make me go back to the hospital. I don't want to die. I don't want to see Fleischer again."